National Taxi lekgotla rolls into Western Cape today. Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula and Transport MEC Bonginkosi Madikizela are expected to make an address. The lekgotla is aimed at creating a roadmap for industry role players to eradicate violence and to reimagine new possibilities. Ronald Masinda joins me now live from Cape Town. Tell us a little bit more about how important today could possibly be.
Jane, a very good morning to you. Of course, one of the key issues on the agenda at this provincial lekgotla will be the issue of taxi violence. We've seen that 87 people have been killed in taxi violence in 2020. There are currently 63 cases with the courts, with 34 of them of attempted murder that involves taxi violence. So we'll be hearing from the Transport Minister, Fikile Mbalula, on possible resolutions. He will also be engaging with a variety of role industry players here in the Western Cape. But I'm now joined for a quick preview with the MEC of Transport in the province, Mr. Bonginkosi Madikizela. Mr. Madikizela, thank you so much for your time. Your office has lauded the efforts of the police in trying to curb taxi violence. There's been at least 143 arrests that have been made over a 3-year period, but only 5 convictions have been made. Is the justice system perhaps letting the taxi industry down?
Well, I think this is the problem that you see. I mean, across the country, our criminal justice system has been a problem for some time now. But I think what we need to do, particularly in the transport industry, is to make sure that we make interventions that will reduce these killings. And that's part of the reason we are here today, to see what is it that we can do as government to really decrease the reasons that results in taxi, people killing each other, which is by and large is the issue of route invasions. And I am certainly hopeful that after this engagement with the taxi industry, of course, having started a number of other initiatives that giving us some ideas as to how we can deal with that, we can certainly come up, with some solutions here today.
There have been previous engagements, Mr. Madikizela, with the taxi industry regarding this particular matter that have yielded very little positive results. What makes today so important? What makes today such a watershed moment for the taxi industry?
Well, until you deal with the structural reform of the taxi industry, I mean, those engagements, I mean, will not be enough. That is why that you really need to understand that the way the taxi industry is structured, really it is a breeding ground, for violence, competition, which result in killings. And you started by, applauding the work of the SAPS, which is really commendable. But, I mean, we really need to close the tap, because it's not going to help us, to expect law enforcement to react, to this crisis every time somebody has been killed. We've got to close the tap. We've got to come up with initiatives that will make us, bring this industry together so that we can really make sure that they are able to work side by side. And I made an example of one of the initiatives in the Western Cape where they are working side by side. And one of the reasons why they are working side by side in the case of Red Dot is because there is some stability in terms of income that they are getting. They don't have to compete over routes. They don't have to drive recklessly, to make the target that they have to make per day, etc., etc. So that is how the industry is structured. So we need to deal with the structural challenges in order for us to solve the problem.
All right, MEC will have to leave it there. And Jane, one of the initiatives that will be discussed today is an initiative that was launched around a year ago, the Public Transport Regulation System that was launched by the Western Cape government. This system was essentially to ensure that taxi drivers receive permits in quick time, because the issue of permits has, of course, exacerbated the issue of taxi violence in the province. This Western Cape lekgotla will take place at around 9 a.m.